It's Monday morning at 7 minutes after, so this is the time that we spend every week with our good friend, Dr. Dennis Norem from Mercy Health, talking a little COVID-19, of which you and I were somewhat up close and personal with over the last week.
At least some of the procedures.
Yeah, absolutely right. Dr. Norem, good morning to you.
Good morning to you guys.
I got to throw out a big kudos, as I did earlier in the show, to Mercy Health's drive-through COVID testing that they do on Perryville. We went and did that last week, and it couldn't have been run more smoothly. It couldn't have been run by nicer, more efficient people. Got right back to us the minute the results were ready to go. Nothing but thumbs up for Mercy Health and how that was handled.
Glad to hear that. I know that our staff there has been doing a really good job with the COVID testing, and the Perryville location is really a good, easy location to get through and get people processed.
It was, and I was worried because I haven't had one yet, and I'd heard all about they shove a Q-tip, 3/4 of the way through your brain and do all this other stuff, and I was, psyching myself up for that, and it turned out to be a throat swab, which was really a big nothing. I mean, nothing to it at all.
Good to hear that, too. I think we've modified the testing a little bit with some of the newer techniques and testing and I think the turnaround time is also improving. I believe you probably got it back 2 days.
Yeah, it was. I got it back. I think it was almost exactly 48 hours.
Yeah. So I think we've gotten it down to a very good process. The question comes up: at what point would we or some of the other big institutions in town go to the immediate testing? And I'm just not quite sure we're ready for that yet. For the rapid test.
When did we switch from the nasal swab to the throat culture?
Well, it's a throat swab, so it's really the same kind of PCR testing. I think that was done, and I'm just guessing within the last 6 to 8 weeks. But don't quote me on that.
Well, I got to tell you, for people who found the other way unpleasant, or you'd heard that it was unpleasant and all that, I have no idea. I haven't had it done that way, but the throat swab. Really nothing to it. Just say and it was a couple of swipes, and you're all done. And like I said, the women who handled the group that I was with could not have been more pleasant or efficient. They were really terrific.
How long did it take you to get through the whole procedure from when you pulled into the parking lot when you pulled out?
20 minutes.
Nice.
20 minutes. Yeah, because there was a line in front of us. It started at 1 o'clock, and I think we were about 7 cars back. So I want to say, about 20 minutes. They moved it right along while still keeping all the efficiency in place.
Very nice.
So there you have that.
I did, and I know Dr. Norm, you don't necessarily agree with me on this one, and that's fine. But I did the rapid test up in Milwaukee is when I got it, and mine was a nasal swab. I was all ready to do the saliva test for the rapid test. That's what I had heard was the norm, and then she pulled out the swabs, and I went, I thought this was a rapid test. She said, it is. This new Abbott test does the nasal swab. I will say that the nasal swab was not nearly as painful as I'd been told about before. It was uncomfortable, but it was all right. How bad a decision did I make there, Dr. Norm, by doing a rapid test instead of doing what Riles did?
He's infected us all, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's an outlier. No, I have no problem. I encourage people to get tested by whichever means. I think the issue with the rapid test is there's a higher incidence of false negatives. And there's a lot of debate on how much difference there is. It could be as high as 30%, 40%. Abbott claims that it's, only 10%. I'm not sure who to believe, but I encourage people to get testing by whichever means. And the point is also that whichever test you do, if you have symptoms a day or 2 or 3 later, get tested again. Mm-hmm. No problem. And even with the rapid test, the feeling is if you get tested a couple of days later, at some point, if you're having symptoms, we're going to pick it up fairly early. So my advice is by whichever means, get tested.
Yeah, whichever, whatever way is handiest, is most convenient, is most affordable, whatever works out best for you. But if you're going to, or if you're in need of a test, don't be dissuaded from it. It's no big deal, and you're only there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you about this because, a lot of people, this got some play last week, and I thought it was intriguing enough when researchers from Penn State College of Medicine came out and said that nasal and oral rinses like mouthwash can deactivate human coronaviruses. Their study finds common over-the-counter products should have the same effect on SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19. They tried various products, including 1% baby shampoo, a neti pot, peroxide sore mouth cleansers, and mouthwash, seeing how each would lower the viral load of coronavirus strains in a patient's mouth. Their findings reveal that most of the products effectively shut down the virus particles in less than 2 minutes.
Interesting thought. And I think the key there is going to be for how long. So in other words, we're shedding viral particles constantly if a person is infected. And it's good to know that you can kind of sanitize that area very quickly with these products. But I guess I wonder, how long will that last? Is that going to be good for an hour, 2 hours a day? Or are you going to find that an hour later you're shedding particles again?
And I also
kind of like the whole issue with mouthwash in general. You do mouthwash and your mouth smells really good for, well, depending on who you are, it might be 5 minutes. It might be 2 minutes, it might be an hour, but eventually the germs and the odors accumulate again.
And what I maybe gathered by being a dumb person listening to your story that you just read there, Riles, is deactivating. That's the word they used, right?
Yeah, that's the word they used.
Deactivating the virus in your mouth or your nose. Is that just to prevent spread if you have it? That won't actually cure your symptoms. You're still susceptible to a virus that is, not necessarily just in your mouth or nose, correct?
Well, that's what I would understand from that. It would deactivate, and in a sense, it would kill the virus, but they use the word deactivate, which I think they're implying that maybe it doesn't actually kill the virus, but it makes it inactive so that it would not infect anybody else. However, that individual still has the virus in their system, and again, they're still going to be shedding virus until...
Yeah, what it says here, researchers introduced their virus solutions to all the cleansing products for 30 seconds, 1 minute, and 2 minutes. The results reveal 1% baby shampoo solution deactivated more than 99.9% of human coronaviruses after 2 minutes of contact. Researchers say doctors who regularly have contact with infected patients often use baby shampoo to rinse out their sinuses.
I hadn't heard that, but baby shampoo is good for a lot of things. I mean, over the years, we've often used baby shampoo to wash people's eyes out because it doesn't sting and it's a good cleanser. So that's encouraging that we can use those types of products to deactivate the virus. Again, I'll get back to my point of, how long is that effective in terms of deactivating virus, and how quickly would a person start shedding a new active virus again?
That's a great question. It says here, the results find several mouthwash and gargling products leave 99.9% of coronaviruses inactive after just 30 seconds. Some of the rinses stopped 99.99% of the coronavirus after 2 minutes of exposure. So, yeah, the big question is, how long does that last, and what are the ramifications going forward? But it was just kind of intriguing that out of nowhere comes this study at Penn State's College of Medicine saying, hey, oral rinses, the mouthwash, and a baby shampoo and all that might be able to help you out, even a neti pot.
Yeah, encouraging, and maybe another way to attack the virus and attack the ability for it to spread, to be able to stop some of the spreading. If people are infected or positive, maybe this is going to be a recommendation down the road to use these kind of rinses to stop the shedding.
You're not quite ready to start gargling baby soap?
I'm not quite ready to snort baby shampoo yet. I'm not sure.
Things got to get a little bit more dire than this. Okay.
How many doctor segments do you listen to where they talk about snorting baby shampoo?
Not many.
Not many.
Not many.
Not many.
No, that's a new one. But who knows? COVID has taught us a lot of things.
Numbers in the area, Region 1 here, have been on the rise for a while. Is you're a gambling man? If you were a gambling man, they can keep going up on the way to Thanksgiving, or is there some hope that that these numbers will maybe flatline and even decrease in a little bit?
Well, I think based on the timing, if I was a gambling man, I would say maybe they'll flatten out by Thanksgiving, but probably not go down significantly. Last number I saw was about a 12% plus positivity rate. And I think the bigger concern is the increased hospitalizations. And I believe the number I saw there was about a 40% increase in hospitalizations for COVID, and an increase on ICU beds to about 75% occupied. So we still have capacity, but those numbers are up significantly over the last month.
Yeah, when you're looking at numbers, which is the one that you focus on? Is it infection rate? Is it the hospital bed rate? Is that more important than the number of cases positive?
I think they're all important, but I think the hospitalization rate is probably the most important number of the bunch. You know, because you can argue about testing. If we do more testing, are we going to have more positives? Maybe, maybe not. The positivity rate can fluctuate quite a bit, but I think at the end of the day, when you look at hospitalization rates, that really tells you what's going on, how serious the increase or decrease in COVID is. And the ICU beds are important, but those are a result ultimately of, the hospitalization of the patients.
And along the lines of that, and good news as far as someone being wrong, late September, California officials predicted the state could see a whopping 89% increase in COVID-19 hospitalizations over the next month. 30 days after that prediction, the rate of virus-related hospitalizations in California has gone down. Dr. Mark Ghaly, who's the state's Health and Human Services Secretary, quoted the LA Times on the 25th of September saying the state was on track to have more than 4,800 people hospitalized with the coronavirus by October 25th. Data shows he was off by 1,831 patients.
Missed it by that much.
Represents a significant decline from late July when the state recorded more than 8,400 patients hospitalized with the coronavirus. But down by 1,831 as of Sunday, 2,969 patients in California hospitalized with the coronavirus, which is down 1.3% from the day before that.
And that's very encouraging for them. And as you can see across the country, the pandemic affects areas much more different at different times. The other thing I think that we've hit upon that's been important is I've seen that almost 50% of the new cases are in rural areas. Months ago, we didn't see any COVID in the rural areas to speak of. It was minimal. Well, now that's becoming almost the majority of the cases as the COVID is spread out through the whole country. I think the hot spots are the Dakotas, and of course we've talked a little bit about Wisconsin. That may be calming down a little bit, but the rural areas are really getting hit hard. I think there's one city in North Dakota I read that 1 out of 20 residents has been recorded as positive, which is quite a large number.
We have Halloween coming up on Saturday. Dr. Norem, I had a pediatrician on last week, and I asked him about trick-or-treating with the kids. He said he would not let his children, if he had them of that age, go out trick-or-treating, just not worth the risk. Are you in that boat? Is there a safe way to let your kids go out trick-or-treating? What would you do if you had kids of that age?
Boy, I don't know. I'm glad I don't. I do have grandkids, and as I think I've said before, the only safe way to trick-or-treat is to probably stand 10 feet away from the door and have people throw the candy at you, which just isn't practical. But the CDC is not recommending, I believe, trick-or-treating. The fact that you would get that close to somebody and drop, it's just too close of a contact. So I'm really leaning towards saying it's probably not a good idea. Now, maybe there's a way to have some kind of virtual trick-or-treating where people could leave the candy out somewhere and kids could come by and pick it up, and maybe they could Zoom with the group, like a church or some other group that could be kind of the intermediary. I'm sure somebody could come up with something that would be reasonably safe, but as far as going door to door, knocking on doors and having kids put out the bag and have people drop candy into it, it's probably not a good idea.
right. And one final thing before we let you go. We have talked off and on throughout this segment as we've been together throughout the pandemic about some of the associated things that are going on with lockdown and life being disrupted the way that it is. And that is U.S. opioid deaths are on the rise during these lockdowns, basically nationwide. And in some spots, it's frightening to see how high the opioid overdose deaths are up.
Yeah, it's a very disturbing aspect of being isolated. We've talked about the increased depression. No question that's been an issue. Increased numbers of people with substance issues, alcohol, and, of course, opioids. And I think people not wanting to get out or not wanting to seek medical attention, certainly it's impacted in the wrong way on the opioid deaths. And that's probably going to continue until we get on the other side of this epidemic.
Yeah, some of these places I'm looking at, Syracuse, New York, up 95%. State of Oregon, up 70%. State of Kentucky, up 50%. State of Maine, up 25%. Yeah,
not the kind of numbers that you would like to be dealing with, as we thought we were making some progress on the opioid crisis, and we were seeing numbers go down before this pandemic, but the pandemic has hit another issue that, a year ago we wouldn't have thought that this would be a problem with opioids.
No, one of the byproducts of all of these things going on. Dr. Norem, as always, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to get on with us each and every Monday and cover the latest on how all of this is going. And we would love to have you back and do it again all next Monday as well.
Well, I'm enjoying the snow. I'm sticking around for a while. So I'll see you guys next Monday.
Yeah, everybody says that when they have a chance to escape from it. Sure. Dr. Norem, thank you for your time.